CTWhatsNew is a Swift library available from Swift Package Manager using Xcode 11. With CTWhatsNew, you can present your users a screen of all changes to your app, and you can specify that the screen will only get presented on launch if the user has just installed a new version or build. Once viewed, it stays dormant until the next version or build is pushed out. You can also associate the presentation of the view on demand if that is an option that you would like to have. CTWhatsNew is compatible with iOS 12, but if your app supports iOS 13, it is dark mode ready. This is not a simple modal view controller, but rather one that, in my opinion, displays more aesthetically on an iPad screen, as it does not cover the entire screen and is not as wide as the new modal in iOS 13. If you're interested in finding out how to install and implement CTWhatsNew, keep watching and I'll go through the entire process. Let's begin by looking at the starter project. The storyboard is a simple view controller embedded in a navigation controller. On it there is an image and a label just to have something presented to you. The view controller class creates a left bar button item that has a display on command action that we will code shortly. The first thing you need to do is to get the CTWhatsNew package. Choose Swift Packages, add Package Dependency from the File menu. Type github.com/stuartlynch/ctwhatsnew.git in the package repository URL field and tap Next. Tap Next again and then Finish. That's all there is to installing a Swift package. To use CTWhatsNew in your project, you have to import the library into the view controller where you want to present the screen. So open View Controller and type Import CTWhatsNew. If you're going to present the CTWhatsNew screen only when your app's version or build has changed, you can create the instance of CTWhatsNew in the ViewDidAppear of your opening initial view controller. This means that it will only appear when a user installs a newer version of your app. If you want to display the screen on demand, then you can create an instance within the action of the outlet itself. We'll do that later in the Display on Demand function. First, let's add our ViewDidAppear function. Now we can create an instance of CTWhatsNew. To create the instance, you must also pass the title and intro text. This will be used at the top of the display to introduce the changes in general. Now that you have your new instance, you can create your items. You create a CTWhatsNew item for every update that you wish to display. To do this, you can use the new item function on your What's New instance and combine it with the CTWhatsNew item function. You could, of course, create a number of CTWhatsNew items individually and then the What's New function to add them all to your instance later, but in this example I'm showing you the combination of both. You should note that the order in which you add the CTWhatsNew item will be reversed on display, so you can add your most recent changes at the end and they will be displayed first. Each CTWhatsNew item requires a version number, a version title, and a description. Now that the items have been created, you can create the ShowWhat'sNew function and pass in the view controller and the What's New items. When we run our application, you see the What's New screen appears on first launch. If we run the app again, the screen does not appear. When this function is called, it checks the version and build number of your app and compares it to a string stored in user defaults. If it's not found or does not match the current running app's version and build, then the What's New screen will be displayed. When the screen's dismissed, the current version and build number of your app is stored and will thus prevent the display of What's New in future launches. Next, we're going to code the On Demand action. If you want to show the What's New screen on demand, then you can associate the building of the items in the ShowWhat'sNew function with an action. we can just copy and paste the same code into the Display on Demand function and change one thing in our Show What's New function. All we have to do is add the parameter isOnDemand true and run again. The What's New screen doesn't appear on load as expected, but if we tap the bar button, it appears. Of course, your On-Demand button may not be in the same view controller, so best practice dictates that we separate our code for creating the What's New instance out to a separate class or struct. I'm going to create a new Swift file called What's New Presenter, and within that file create a new struct of the same name. Now let's create a static function called getWhat'sNew that returns an instance of CTWhatsNew. In the body of the function, we can just copy and paste the code from our view controller and return the What's New instance. Now, back in our view controller, we can replace the code for the creation of the instance of CTWhatsNew with simply the let's what's new equal the what's new presenter dot get what's new. One more thing you can do is provide optional colors to change the color of the navigation bar, the Done button, and the title. Let's remove the call to the Show What's New function and start again, but this time choose All Options. As before, we're presenting on Self with the What's New items, but we want a red background on the nav bar with a white button and yellow text color, and have it displayed on demand. We set the isOnDemand to true. Let's run one more time. When we tap the On Demand button, we see our changes have been applied. That's all there is to adding a What's New screen to your apps.